This really does go to like the core of the patterns that we study in sacred geometry, which is really the divine blueprint of all the patterns that create things, that movement between the unity and then the separation into individuality, polarity, etc., and this almost constant pulsation moving between the two over greater spans of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if we connect this back up to the original idea of what are we doing living in the age of Archangel Michael
Yeah, and
today?
what ought we do?
Yes. So it's always a matter of, take advantage of the prevailing winds. If we have a sailboat, you would use the prevailing winds to pull us faster in the direction we need to go. And so if this is the current age of Archangel Michael, in a sense, this is the highest of the archangelic ages. It's the sun period. And so if we take a look at what are these aspects of Archangel Michael that we are partaking in now, this ability to bring together the knowledge of multiple traditions into a unified gnosis again is something huge. I've often mentioned in interviews that my perspective on the current state of metaphysics is a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that we have unbelievable access to previously hidden information from traditions all over the world that kept this information very secret previously. Things like the internal alchemy formulas for self-transformation coming from the Taoist tradition in China. Before the 1980s, good luck trying to find any information on any of that. But starting in the 1980s, this information began to be published. Things that I know would cost you $10,000 in gold if you can find the person who would share it with you in Los Angeles in the early 1980s, you can now get for $19.95 in a book that describes to you that particular alchemical process.
Sure.
It's absolutely unbelievable. So the release of previously hidden information from all these different traditions in previous incarnations, we'd had to go to incredible lengths to try to travel to places and try to get entry into temples and try to learn some of these things. Now there's so much available to us. So that's the great blessing. It's unbelievable what we have access to. The curse is that it's in a fragmented form that doesn't necessarily come into a coherent whole until we apply the energy to it to reunite those fragments back together. And some of the information may be, just like computer data, may be corrupted in a way that we need to put it back into a form that makes sense. Or there may be a certain knuckleball in the teaching that goes with somebody's esoteric agenda, which may not be something completely benevolent. And so there's a lot of discernment connected. Now, lots of times people get kind of burned out and frustrated with this and say, why is this so difficult? Why does this require so much effort? Why can't I just have the pure, unvarnished truth of how everything fits together presented to me? And I think we need to see it within the context that this is a initiation trial. One of the classic ideas is that as we develop further in our earthly journey, we will be given initiation trials where we have to overcome certain challenges. And through doing so, we'll develop new strengths that we have to develop. And we could not develop without overcoming those challenges. So with that sword of discernment from Archangel Michael, we now live in a time where we are flooded with information, including absolutely incredible, very advanced information. But it's within a morass of things of lower quality and that may not be true, may not be useful. And so it requires a very active flaming sword of discernment to find what is the true and the valuable and the beautiful, and to put it into a coherent whole in a way that allows us to fully consciously reclaim our own personal answer to what I often think of as the three key questions of human life. Who am I? Why am I here? And what did I incarnate to do in this particular lifetime?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I have seen from my perspective is that so many people are so lost and wounded by the difficulties of human existence today, trying to make sense of the world they live in and their traumas that have built up over time, that they are very far from accomplishing whatever their karmic purpose was, whatever karmic contract they had agreed to when they passed through the sphere of the sun before physical incarnation. At that time, you're not carrying your karma, your heavy bags, all the difficulties of physical life that you have to try to figure out. And being a being of pure light and fire, he says, yeah, when I get down to earth, I'm going to do all this incredible stuff. Then you get here and you take on all the heavy bags of your karma and the difficulties of physical existence. And, you're up to your ass in alligators and forgot you came to drain the swamp. And that's very, very common today. Uh-huh. So that taking advantage of this background power that is there today with Archangel Michael, the power of the sun, to reclaim our own personal answers to those three questions, remembering, who am I? Why am I here? What am I going to do in this lifetime? And putting it together, things will almost automatically work out fantastic on the planet if people wake up, empower themselves, and do what they came here to do, rather than getting lost in their own particular trauma trail. Mm-hmm. So this is something absolutely essential. This is something very real that is available to us right now here in the age of Archangel Michael. Also connected to it, at the beginning of this recent 300-year period of Archangel Michael, which won't occur again for another part of the 2,160-year cycle. We're very fortunate to live at this moment. That it's connected to, in 1879, was the beginning of everything we have in the transformation of the earth with modern technology. There was no mass communication in 1879. Nobody had a phone in their house. There was none of the modern communication technologies. There wasn't even electrification. Nobody had electricity in the house. It didn't exist. That didn't happen until the late 1800s, and really didn't happen until 1900 with applying Tesla's discoveries. So that was the beginning of the creation of modern communication technologies. It's another part of that Michaelic age where people can communicate clearly with each other and over vast distances and share information, share inspiration, things that are going to help people on their path. Now, always there's a dark shadow to that, with things that are using communication technologies to try to divide and to
manipulate,
suppress,
coerce, control, dominate, all of the harmonic.
And with the things that we're seeing now with trying to suppress information, the amount of censorship, the loss of the idea of free speech has become something incredible in just a few years. So if we look at it, though, we have this new Michaelic age with the communication involved as the regent of the cosmic intelligence that is making all this available to us. So we are now able to access information and to connect with people and impulses from all over the planet almost instantaneously. And this didn't exist when the beginning of the age started in 1879. So this is an incredible transformation that's directly linked to the age of Archangel Michael. Now, again, we also have available to us in our own inner life, in our own inner work, that type of solar activation experience spoken of in many traditions with their solar yoga or solar initiation. That, because this is the age of Archangel Michael, this ability to connect to a greater divine force in meditation and inner development work that is going to bring into us that solar power, becoming a being of light and fire, and bringing up that potential of our willpower to actually manifest ourselves more fully and to do the work in the world and to work with other people in service to create something that is absolutely amazing, is something very real and available to us right now. So these are some of the hallmarks of the Michaelic age that we're living in.
Yeah, it's so beautiful and so resonant with what I feel many of us are doing. It's very much what you're doing. It's very much what I'm endeavoring to do, and praying for guidance and listening to how I can serve that cause in the very best way possible.
Senses and all these other things coming together.